the night comes down again. I mean, it usually does. I mean, night follows day, so the night does come down again every day. But I'm not talking about that actually. I'm actually talking about the song, "The Night Comes Down." We're revisiting it next on PLD Projects. Stick around. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Crown Jewels here on this PLD Projects Network. I am your host, PLD. We took 2 weeks off for the holidays, and I hope that you had a happy holidays, and I hope you have a happy New Year's and a kick-ass 2025. We are back, though, for more. We're going to continue on our journey through the Queen catalog, song by song, track by track, version by version, as we discover what is the best version or titular crown jewel version of each song to slide into our ultimate playlist. I usually give you notes and quotes and all the history, but not during this run, because this particular run, we are in revisiting mode. That's right, we did these tracks before. You can look back at the original Queen album run we did back at the beginning of the podcast, but then 2024 happened and the Queen One Collector's box set came out. We have new versions to listen to. We have challengers to the crown, and The Night Comes Down is no exception. In fact, we probably have more of The Night Comes Down than anything else. We have 5 new versions to listen to because the band decided to use this track as a promotional single of sorts to promote the box set's release. So for us, we have the 2024 mix, the 2024 single version, the Day Lane Lay demo 2024 mix, the backing track version, and of course the takes 1 and 2 with guide vocal. That's one take. It's a quick take one's a quick little stop and start and stop, and then we go into take 2 with the guide vocal. Last time we were here, we declared that the album version was the titular crown jewel with the Day Lane Lay demo coming in second. That's the only 2 versions we had. And of course, I don't usually give too many notes and quotes, but just for clarity's sake, this is actually kind of a weird one to judge because the album version really kind of is the Day Lane Lane demo. They're kind of the same take. The band just remixed it a little bit differently from the demo in order to put it out on the final version. Under arrest, they were recording the rest of the tracks, and they decided they couldn't find a mix they liked, so they wanted to use their original demo on the main album, despite what Trident and their company wanted them to do. But let's get right to it. If you look below in the show notes, you'll have a Google Doc. You'll have a link to YouTube links to all the different versions, and I included the album version, Day Lane Lay demo, from the original sessions, because, well, I want to have you have the ability to compare them if you'd like to. But we're going to get right to it. The first one I want you to listen to, we're going to listen to the album version and then the 2024 mix. You can listen to the 2024 single mix if you'd like as well. It's not a whole lot different. It's really just an editing of the beginning. I'm going to talk about that next. After you pause me, you'll listen, come back, and I will talk to you about them. And there you have it. That's the 2024 mix compared to the 2011 remastering of the original version. A quick note, I'm trying not to get too deep in these revisitings, but I mentioned this before, but in case this is your first episode, the reason why the band decided to release the 2024 Collector's Edition is because they wanted to remaster the sound, and not just remaster, fully remix the sound. The band recorded this album basically on their first record deal. They were given run of Trident Studios only during like dark times when other people weren't recording. They'd have to sit and wait. They were forced to use the setup there in Trident. The drums, Roger really hated the drums and hated the drum sound. That's the biggest complaint we ever get to hear. But it really wasn't what the band wanted to do. Band in a couple of years would really be able to really become famous and be able to basically declare their own destiny, really. But here they're really kind of just doing it here and there. And we end up with a sound which isn't the best, a very dry sound. And Roger really, really hated the drum sound. That was the main reason why. However, as I also mentioned, the Day Lane Lay demo version was really used for The Night Comes Down. The drums weren't as much of an issue on this version compared to the other versions. However, because of the remix was trying to make the album sound a little bit more on continuous, it still wasn't great. So this was really a complete rebuild from the original mastered tapes, and because it was the original 2024 Day Lane Lay demo, and we do have the 2024 remix of the Day Lane Lay demo as well. This was they did this in the style of what was the Queen One version, as it were. And the real big difference is, again, the drums, though, and the instrumentals parts of it. The drums are already different, but this remixed version gives them a lot more space, a lot more crisp sound to it, a lot more punchy sound to it. I've mentioned this before. It sometimes might sound a little too modern to some people. I don't know if it sounds modern or if it's just people hearing something different and it sounds so crisp and clear. It almost feels like it's dated or modern, too modern compared to the original sound. I'm not certain, but I do think it helps the sound out quite a bit. Each instrument is actually given its own space. The muddiness of the first recording is not there anymore. We get to hear specifically the guitar, specifically the bass, specifically the vocals, specifically the drums. It all comes together in its own new fashionable way. I really do enjoy the 2024 mix. Now, just to go on one more bit, we will talk about the 2024 single version. It's the same version. It's basically the 2024 mix. The only thing it does cut off that instrumental lead in the Brian, doom, 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 that part at the beginning, which is just a little instrumental run that Brian does. Great for the album version, but when you're having a single version, you want to get right to the heart of the matter, and we begin right at the beginning of the vocal section, or the next section right after, I should say, right after the guitar running. That's the only difference between the 2024 mix and the single version. So that's that. Those are the differences there. Let's now go back and listen to the Dave Lane Lay demos. I do have the original version, which was released in 2011 when Island Records released a deluxe version of Queen with a bonus EP. The Dave Lane Lay demos, though, were sourced from Brian May's acetate. Now, it seems that we found a better version because these are from the 2020, the Dave Lane Masters at this point. So it's a different source, different sound, and so I'm really happy that they decided to include these on the box set because the acetate sounds kind of like it sounds like an acetate, which is kind of cool if you're getting into the moment, trying to hear what it would sound like there. But I personally would much rather get the crisp, clear sound. So I included both the 2011 remastering of it and the new 2024 remix of the Dave Lane Lay demos. Pause me, go listen to it, come back, we shall talk about it. And there you have it there, the Dave Lane Lay demos, the old 2011 version of the 1971 December acetate, and then the 2024 remix. The remix is done keeping to the style of what the Dave Lane Lay demos were. They don't try to add anything to make it sound like the Queen 1 box set, or the Queen 1 album version, I should say. It's mixed to fit that scale of their tracks. It does sound much crisper and cleaner, though. I mean, it's definitively a different sound. You have the source from an acetate, source from the master. Either way, you're getting a good listen to what the song sounded like just before they remixed it a little bit for the album version. But it's not a whole lot different to it. I do like the 2024 mix over the 2011 version just because the sound is crisper. But your miles may vary. Perhaps you hear like the warm sound of the acetate. Maybe. I don't know. All right, let's go on to the next version, the Dave Lane Lay takes 1 and 2 with guide vocals. I don't know if I said the Dave Lane Lay takes before. These are actually the Dave Lane Lay takes 1 and 2. I'm not sure if they had takes that they tried in Trident. I'm sure they probably did have takes they tried in Trident, but we don't get any of those, unfortunately. I actually kind of would have preferred to get takes that were from Trident to hear what that would have sounded like with the setup there, at least because it's so far different from what we got the Dave Lane Lay versions. But at the same time, get the first and second takes from Dave Lane. And the take one, again, it's just a false start, so it's not 2 tracks, it is just the 1 track. The 5.5 minutes are take 1 and take 2 because Brian has a little false start. We're going to listen to that, the guide vocal, come back, and we shall talk about it. Okay, now really cool to hear, right? Really, really cool to hear. However, I always have to try to keep in mind, that we are looking for the best, the crown jewel version, the titular version that we're going to listen to of all time. What's the ultimate version of the song? And I can never put a guide vocal as the best version, even no matter how good the instrumental version is. And this is not a great version. It's not a great full version. This is just an interesting version to hear if you're a fan of the band, because you get to hear them in the infancy stages. This is really them at their youth. And they haven't quite got the song yet. We got to take 1, like I said before, it's a false start. Brian stops during the acoustic guitar, having hit a wrong note. Get some great chat between the band. That's the best part about this. You actually feel like you're in the rehearsal room with them, in the recording studio with them, listening to them as they come up with stuff. They're practicing a few bits. You get Freddie, Roger, and Brian having banter. Freddie yelling to Brian to shut up as Brian's noodling away on his guitar strings. At the end, they actually get a little bit more after the track, which is out there preparing to do take 3. It's very kind of cool. I do like hearing this. Now, interestingly, because of the Queen's Collector's Edition included the instrumental version of this song, we can compare the final backing track that these takes, and it does sound like there are some elements potentially from here that survived into the final version. I don't know if it means that they kind of spliced them together somehow. They went, oh, I like this one from take one, and I want to slice this part here. And I mean, that's something that they used to do back in the day, and they kept as many takes as they could. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do have a few bits and pieces from takes 1 and 2 that actually were put into the finale, the final version, I should say. But Freddie's guide vocal is definitely a guide vocal. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not him trying to make his mark. This is him just kind of keeping time for the most part. Although there is some interesting falsetto parts he plays with. The "Listen to Me" line is particularly kind of a cool little different version he does, a little different kind of read of the song, of the lyrics, rather than melody, I should say. And so it's very interesting. Is it a worthy crown jewel? No, I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not going to be my crown jewel, but it's still something I'm excited to get. I hope we get more of these. All right, final version. We're going to listen to the backing track version. Click on that link below, come back, and we'll talk about it. And there you have it, the 2024 mix, the backing track, I should say. The backing track is from the 2024 remix. It is the full backing track, which is mostly instrumental. You do get a few backing vocals, which are interesting to hear. It's not much really to talk about, though. If you like these, you're going to love it. And if you don't, if you get bored and want to hear the vocals, I get that too. I always like hearing the backing tracks once or twice. I don't love listening to them all the time, but we do usually get to hear some differences here and there. Although this one, without the lead vocal, it does include the backing vocals. There's not a whole lot that was hidden under Freddie's lead vocal because it was a softer lead vocal. It was a breathier lead vocal for the most part. So it didn't really hide a whole lot. But still, it's kind of interesting to hear the groove without the lead vocal during the verses and everything else. But yeah, that is it. That's the last version that we have to listen to today. We are almost done with this episode. Now we just got to go to the rankings, the ratings, and all that jazz. Now, on a scale of 1 to 11, because we always turn things up to 11 here on PLD Projects, I originally gave The Night Comes Down a 7. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with that, give it a 7. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to bump it up. The sound was so much better. I liked it. I'm going to give it a 7.5. 7.5. However, that does not make this song eligible for my top 10 Queen-related tracks of all time that I'm doing as we go along. If you've listened to this podcast for a while now, you know that 10.5 and higher are the only ones that are on the top 10 Queen-related tracks of all time. 7.5 and not even close, unfortunately. And I do like the song. All right, let's rank the versions now. Again, before it was number 1 album version, number 2 Day Lane Lay demo. Has that changed? Do we have a new champion? All right, the last version of this one, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 7 on the list. We'll go from 7 to 1. 7 takes 1 and 2 with guide vocal. Again, very interesting, great curio, wonderful to have. But as for a crown jewel, no, it's the least of it. It's not a finished track, really. It's not Freddie's good vocal era. Next one from that, the backing track. Again, not the Freddie vocal. Without the Freddie vocal, it's hard for me to make it the final version. From there, the Day Lane Lay demo. That means everything above that. Number 2. That was number 2 last time. Now that is down to number 5. All right, we got number 4, the Day Lane Lay demo 2024 mix. That's where I put that one. So it's not much different there, of course. So then we got the final 3. Number 3. The album version, the 2011 remastered 1973 version. This is where I put the previous winner, which means we do have a new champion. The only decision to make is, what is it? Is it the 2024 mix or is it the 2024 single version? And I'm not going to leave you in suspense any longer. At least for me, I'm going to go with the 2024 mix because I do like the instrumental run-up. I do think it's a nice little run-up. I get the single version for radio speak. I get it if you want to put the 2024 single version in a playlist. I do understand that. But for me, I really like the lead up to the song. The Brian May acoustic run kind of gets you in the mood. It's like different from the rest of the track, but then it kind of builds and builds and builds and builds, and then we kind of get this nice bed of soft guitar strumming and vocals at that point. So to me, I like the build-up. So that leads me to 2024 mix is the new champion, the new crown jewel of The Night Comes Down. That's what's going into the mix, my friends, and that's going to end this episode. We are almost through the Queen 1 box set. Got a few more tracks to go. Next week, we will tackle Roger's Modern Times Rock and Roll, which has 3 new versions to listen to. The 2024 mix, the Trident Takes 8 and 9, as well as the backing track version. Another fun one to listen to for sure. We did have some Queen news. In Queen news, Brian May did talk to the fan club, and in his fan club message, he mentioned that we're going to be getting a remix of Queen 2, which is considered to be the holy grail of Queen albums for most Queen fans, like the big, long-time Queen fans, the ones who are not the casuals, the deep ones that Queen 2 has topped many best album lists. I know Night at the Opera's up there, News of the World's up there, Innuendo's up there, but Queen 2 has been the one that's been kind of the definitive album for many, many fans. So getting the Queen 1 treatment, a box set like that, which means we're going to get a lot of new Queen 2 versions to listen to. I'm excited about that for sure. In addition, we're going to get another re-edition of Brian May's Gold releases. He's been doing reissues of his own solo catalog, getting them back in print. I'm not certain which one we got left now. I'm hoping it's going to be maybe Brixton Academy, maybe with some extra live tracks, extra live concert perhaps, or maybe a live Another World tour concert like the Royal Albert Hall, which is recorded, if they can make that sound better, up to Brian's, perfect ears, as it were. And also, he did say something about him and Roger maybe wanting to do something new. I don't know necessarily what that means, but I'm intrigued. And let's see what the boys have to come up with at this point. But that's going to be in the future. Next week, we're back here on the same channel, Modern Times Rock and Roll. If you hit like this, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that comments. Join us at patreon.com/PLDprojects. If you can't join us there, I completely understand, but you can do your best to help us fight the almighty algorithm with the ways I just told you. So stay tuned until next time. I will see you then. Bye.